Hi friends, let me explain it to you. What do you hear when someone tells you these words? Let me explain it to you. You see, I heard these words every single day. At that time, I didn't realize that my boss was really a narcissist. This video will be a personal one. It's a difficult topic because these words, and many similar ones, are heard by many of us, at least a few times in our career. Have you ever heard these words? I am very grateful today for having a very caring, supportive and trusting work environment, but it wasn't like that in the past. I hope that with this video, I will help many of us to recognize a narcissistic boss, protect our confidence, set boundaries, and survive a narcissist. Let me start by sharing a short story. Many years ago, I worked for a software company. My boss, you got it right. Let me explain it to you, guy. He was my first manager. And at the start, he was kind of like charming in the interview process, all about support and how lucky he will be to have me on the team. When I joined, he used phrases like, "You are a natural leader." But after 6 months, everything changed. I was tasked with a multi-year project, which became increasingly complicated. Even though my progress was faster than planned, I started hearing different words. "Oh, you don't know that. Let me explain it to you." Or, "This is how it works. Let me explain it to you." He was never open to any comment that is not agreeing with him. And the people who got promoted were the ones that kept on, kind of like fake adoring him, always agreeing with him, and downplayed his truly abusive behavior. After 2 years, I completed the project, and I was so proud. I was supposed to present it to the company upper management, but the day before, my boss asked me for the PowerPoint presentation. We used PowerPoint back then. Just to explain me how to make the presentation better. The following day, he told me that the meeting was postponed. It wasn't. He went to the meeting, presented the project as if he was the one who did it. He got promoted. He never mentioned me. A week after, he came to congratulate me for a great project and, of course, how much he helped me in achieving it. He didn't. A month later, I left, packed my bag, and moved to a different country. I didn't really understand it then, but I worked for a narcissist. Today, I know that there are clear signs a person is a narcissist. So let's explore those. First three are about how they see themselves. So the first one is extreme self-importance. They must be the most important person in the room and need everyone to know it. They are the type of people that will say, "I did that, and I did that, and I did that." Or, "This is nothing compared to the degree I got from this amazing school." Or, "This is nothing compared to the startup that I started." The second thing is that they need admiration. After they tell you all the amazing story about themselves, they expect you to admire them, many times by minimizing yourself. They love to hear how great they are and how grateful you are to even be in their presence. And the third thing is entitlement. You see, it's not only that they are geniuses, because of course they are, they also deserve to be treated differently. The regular people rules should not apply to them. Here are a few more traits about the way they treat others and make it so toxic in the workplace. First, they tend to be arrogant, jealous, and they can't really maintain any relationship. The second thing is that they lack empathy. "Oh yes, don't expect any, I understand how you feel," or "Is there anything I can help you with, as I see that you're struggling?" That will never happen. And lastly, and this one is a tough one to see at first, even though they are truly awful people, they have this ability to charm and manipulate people. For me, I truly thought that this guy, my boss, can be my best friend. He was so amazing and so kind to me at the start. But it only lasts until they are tired from your non-admiration or just move on to the next target. How did you feel as I went through these amazing traits? Any names pop up in your mind? Even thinking about these traits brings some truly bad memories and names of abusers that I never want to hear or see again. Recognizing this pattern is our first line of defense. But awareness alone is not enough. Once you realize you're dealing with a narcissist, you kind of need a survival strategy. So what can you actually do when you work with one of them, or even worse, work for one of them? When you face a narcissist, it is important to know that they usually use the same manipulation tactic. It's called DARVO, DARVO, and it stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. DARVO. Let me show you how this played out with my boss so you can recognize it when it happens to you. I remember that years ago, after getting a promotion and an added responsibility, I asked my narcissistic boss for a raise. I shared with him that he told me about a year ago that once I get a promotion, he will personally work with the board to get me the raise and the stocks. I could barely finish this sentence before he immediately went full DARVO on me. He first denied that he ever promised me any of that. When I told him that I can send him our Slack conversation, then, came the attack phase. He went on full mode attack and said, "So now you track all of our conversation. Is this what our relationship came to? I always take care of you, and this is how you repay me by treating me like a liar?" I was shocked. I couldn't say a single word, and honestly, I started to believe that I am at fault, which is a very common feeling when dealing with a narcissist. But he didn't stop there. He then shifted to be a reverse victim and offender. He said, "Do you know how many hours I work every day to make this company successful so you can benefit from it? I don't sleep. I have stomach pains. My wife doesn't even see me anymore. I do it all for you. And this is how you treat me?" I felt I made a big mistake, and how can I ask things from him? He works so hard for us. Again, not true, but a feeling that you get throughout this DARVO manipulation tactic. And finally, he made me the offender and said, "I do not understand why you need to attack me. Knowing how much I always do for you, how much I sacrifice for you. Why do you treat me this way?" Yes, after the reverse victim, the last part of this behavior is to turn you into the offender. My head exploded. I felt so ashamed and alone. I couldn't think straight. All I wanted, really, is just to leave the room. This whole conversation took less than 10 minutes, but made me question my own memory. That's exactly what DARVO is designed to do. A few weeks later, my entire team and I were laid off. Have this ever happened to you? You see, I learned quite a bit since that time, and today I know that there is a path to handle a narcissist and their DARVO weapons. Here are some things I've learned and helped me on this journey. To counter DARVO, I use these 6 tactics: record and acknowledge, build support, minimize interactions, set boundaries, protect yourself from manipulation, and design an exit plan. Let's check out each one of these. So the first one, record and acknowledge. Every time I have an interaction with a narcissist, I write what, where, and when it happened. I write down pretty much everything they said and how I felt. And the most important thing, I acknowledge to myself that I just had an interaction with a narcissist. I don't try to change them. I just need to remind myself that it is not me who is at fault. I found that writing it down helps me to avoid downplaying, telling myself things like, "That's not what they said," or "It only happened once." It doesn't. Acknowledging and understanding it is not you who is the bad person is a key to handling these narcissistic people. I then build support. To me, it means that I share what happened and my fears and emotion with my most trusted family members, friends, and other people I trust. I share what happened, and yes, I also share my fears and my emotions. I learned that others have faced the same issue, the same horrific experiences. The next tactic, which may sound simplistic, but is so powerful, is to minimize the interaction with this narcissistic person. I always try to avoid being with this person in the same meeting, unless it is a must. I don't initiate conversations unless it is needed, and I try to communicate in a, kind of like in a digital way versus the human interaction. Usually, using digital communication also creates a paper trail. I know there's no paper, but a paper trail, and removes this emotional manipulation of a face-to-face DARVO. Minimizing the interactions with a narcissist goes hand in hand with setting boundaries. If you remember, one of the narcissist traits are that they don't believe that rule applies to them. But you can set boundaries of what you will and what you will not tolerate and communicate that clearly. I remember in one of my workplaces, a peer, an abusive peer, kept on calling me on weekends, always asking what I think about this product or that feature, when will they be ready? At the start, I tried not to answer this call, and that person used to tell my manager that I'm just never available. I then decided to set boundaries. I told him I do not work on features on Sundays, and he can get the update like everyone else on Monday. I also learned better ways to protect myself from their manipulation when I recognized that I am deep into a DARVO conversation. I kept reminding myself about the truth. I also stopped sharing any vulnerable information that they can and yes, they will use during these calls. And lastly, after several years with really abusive managers, I realized that I can't win. I know it will sound really not fair, and I know you think that they won, and maybe they did. The real win is my own state and the vision of the life I want to have. You see, the best way to deal with a narcissist is just not to be there. So I set an exit plan for myself. I spoke with other people, I interviewed in other places, and, I like saying that. I packed my bag and never spoke with that person again. So think about it and how you acknowledge the interaction, build support, protect yourself, set boundaries, and yes, set an exit plan if nothing else works. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Which of these tactics resonates most with your situation? You deserve a meaningful life. You deserve working in a fair place with professionals and caring people. If you are not in one today, know that you do not have to stay. There is a better place. I hope this video helped with some ideas on how to handle a narcissist. And until our next time together, may you live a remarkable life. And yes, an abuse-free life.